by the year 2050, we are projected to have 15 billion people living in the world. And apparently 2/3 of them are going to be living in cities. That means we need to be building approximately, how many was that? 13,000 structures every single day. And I think if we want to move towards a more sustainable future, we really need to change the way we build fast by adopting new technology and new processes. Last month, Autodesk invited me over to their gallery in San Francisco to check out some of the projects that are pushing the boundaries, not just in design and architecture, but in different fields. I'm not gonna lie, like some of these projects really got me excited and hopeful about the future. A project that I thought would really revolutionize the construction process is from a company called Scaled Robotics, which is based in Barcelona, Spain. So one of the biggest surprises for me when I started working in architecture and started going to construction sites was the sheer amount of reliance on manual systems and processes to make very complex buildings. There's quite a lot of processes in architecture that is like this, but this especially feels like a very old way of doing site reviews. And I feel like as buildings get more and more complex, it's gonna get harder and it's gonna get more time consuming and probably more dangerous for architects to go and manually do site reviews. So this machine from Scaled Robotics drives around a construction site and it scans everything. And this data is uploaded to the cloud and automatically compared to the BIM model. And it automatically generates reports and deficiencies and percentage completion. And it's able to get a level of precision that I think will be very difficult for a person. You might be saying, LiDAR scans isn't anything new. It's been available for a long time. And you are totally right. But I think the magic is in the software and the cloud-based nature of this. I've worked on projects where I had a LiDAR scan model available, but the models were so heavy and slow, we still had to manually go in and model all the elements in Revit. Yes, it makes the model more accurate, but it's adding so much more to the work of an architect. And so this product, I think, increases the level of precision and it actually saves us time. And I think this is actually really critical when you're developing these new technologies. As an architect who's actually in the office and doing the work and drawing the building, I'm sometimes weary of new products because when a new technology comes in, it increases the output, but it also increases the expectation. And as a worker, you're the one who has to produce the work to meet those new expectations. So something like a LiDAR scanning system that detects the construction deficiencies is great, but if you're still the one who has to log all that and fix all the problems, that's on you and it's adding more to your workflow. So when you see a product that solves the problems on the front end and on the production end of things, you know that it's been designed with the architect in mind. That's where it gets me really excited. So this product was designed using BIM 360, Forge, and Inventor. Over here, you see a scale model of the Nest building in Zurich, Switzerland. They do research on new technology, materials, and new systems. They use ReCap to create a digital replica of the building. And they basically place sensors throughout the building, which feeds data to this digital twin. And you can run simulations on the CO2 level or the energy consumption. And you can use this to give you insights into things like the maintenance cost or the comfort level. Buildings produce 40% of the world's global emissions. And with the ability to analyze and evaluate and predict and monitor new and existing buildings with such a simple and intuitive interface, we can make better decisions on how we design our buildings, and we can kind of better inform the stakeholders on where and how to spend their money. So this was done using Recap, BIM 360, Revit, and Forge. They didn't just have things on architecture, but on space exploration, animation, transportation. For example, Leica animation studios use the Autodesk software to design and 3D print thousands of variations of expressions of the puppets they used in their stop-motion animation. They also had an installation showing their collaboration with NASA JPL, where they used generative design technology to create a lander. They also worked with Hyundai to develop a walking vehicle that can adapt to different types of really complex terrain, so it can actually access roads that normal vehicles can't access. Throughout the exhibition, you're going to see some cool interactive installations and role-playing games that's going to let you experience the different parties involved in the city planning process, and you can play with other people in real time. So there were quite a few projects using generative design technology, which is where you can set up the parameters like constraints, material properties, or even manufacturing processes, and you can use the software to optimize the 3D model. The projects here weren't architecture projects, but they had some in aerospace and in the automobile sectors. And using the aid of AI, they were able to seriously reduce the mass of these machines. It's interesting that in both cases, it's generated a very organic shape, which is why at first I was pretty skeptical about the application of generative design into architecture, because architecture is an industry that's very tied to the materials and labor that's already available, which is also why most buildings look the way they do. But I learned from the Autodesk team that you can actually set the constraints to only use traditional construction methods. And they've actually worked with clients to design buildings that still look very traditional from the outside, but they use generative design to really reduce the mass of the building components. The area that got me really excited was how it could be used in the earlier design processes. Generative design can help you design the perfect floor plan, which is actually how they've designed their offices in Toronto, or the size or the placement of the windows or houses or entire neighborhoods to optimize for things like natural daylighting or ventilation or access. I'm sure you've heard the stats. Buildings produce 40% of the world's global emissions. And at this rate, we need to be not only designing better, smarter, and more sustainable buildings, but we also need to be drastically improving the process in building these buildings. If you want to learn more about the software that I mentioned in this video, check out the Autodesk website. And if you're in the Bay Area, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to visit the gallery for yourself when they open. I thought the exhibits were really well curated, and seeing the developments in different sectors, it really helps you see what's possible and what we as architects need to push. You know, architecture is, and it kind of has been, a little bit behind. I do feel like it's one of the few industries that hasn't been drastically transformed by technology. And I really hope that in the next few years, maybe in a couple decades, we will see a big transformation in the way we work. I think I saw a glimpse of that here. So thank you, Autodesk, for hosting me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. I've been working on something very, very exciting in the background. I announced in my last Q&A video that I'm taking 50 volunteers to help me test the waters with this idea for a Discord community. I think over the past couple of weeks, we've kind of finished building out the foundations of this, and it's given me a really good glimpse of what this community could be, and I'm really, really, really excited. So all of this is free for you, but if you want to join in on live video or audio calls with me, a membership tier is available where I'm going to sit down and answer any questions and also be doing interviews with industry professionals. For our very first week, we've got an interview scheduled with Evelyn Lee, who's been on the channel before, but she's been such an advocate for architects over the past 20 years. I think she's one of those people who's going to really help transform the industry and take it into the future. I am really excited about that. So I am going to make these interviews publicly available on my YouTube channel, but they will be edited and condensed versions designed for YouTube. With this membership tier, you're going to get access to the full in-depth and unedited versions of the interviews with the opportunity to ask questions live. That's the end of the announcements. I'll leave the link to the server in the description, as well as the link to the membership tier. And when you join the server, read the rules, follow the instructions, please, and go and introduce yourselves. So yeah, I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. You excited? I'm excited. You excited? I'm excited. Are you excited? I'm excited. I'm very excited.